Hello, and welcome to our video on the forgotten history of the enslavement of white people. Today, when we think of slavery, we often think of the enslavement of Africans. But the enslavement of white people that went on around the same time is a part of history that is often forgotten. In this video, we will explore the start of this practice, the history behind it, and why it eventually came to an end. Start of white slavery. The practice of enslaving white people, mainly by North African and Middle Eastern powers, including the Ottoman Empire, Barbary pirates, and the Kingdom of Morocco, began in the 16th century. It is estimated that up to 1.5 million Europeans were enslaved during this time. Many of the enslaved Europeans were taken as prisoners of war, while others were kidnapped from their homes or captured while traveling at sea. They were then taken to North Africa or the Middle East and sold into slavery. This practice of enslaving Europeans was known as white slavery or Christian slavery, and was often carried out through piracy and raids on European coastal towns and villages. History of white slavery. The conditions of enslavement for Europeans in North Africa and the Middle East were often brutal, with many slaves forced to work in labor camps or on plantations. Some were also used as domestic servants or concubines. The practice of enslaving Europeans continued for several centuries and was a significant source of income for North African and Middle Eastern powers. It is important to note that the practice of enslaving others was not exclusive to one race or ethnicity. Whoever had the power enslaved others. Europeans, for example, also enslaved Africans and indigenous people during this time period. The enslavement of white people by North African and Middle Eastern powers was simply another example of this practice. End of white slavery. The practice of enslaving Europeans gradually declined in the 19th century as European powers began to assert their dominance in the region, which made it more difficult for North African and Middle Eastern powers to continue the practice of enslaving Europeans. Additionally, the abolitionist movement in Europe and North America, which gained momentum in the 19th century, also brought greater attention to the issue of slavery and helped to end the practice of slavery. This movement, which sought to end all forms of slavery, ultimately led to the abolition of slavery in many parts of the world. Conclusion. The enslavement of white people by Ottomans and others is a part of history that is often forgotten. While the practice of white slavery was brutal and had a significant impact on the lives of those who were enslaved, it is important to remember that the practice of enslaving others was not exclusive to one race or ethnicity. Whoever had the power enslaved others. We hope that this video has shed light on this forgotten chapter of history and helped to broaden our understanding of the global impact of slavery. Thank you for watching.